Om Shanti. There was a beautiful song playing. Baba, you are our everything. Right? Did you feel you were singing also? Baba had been asking us many times recently, what is the song of the heart? And he has been also saying, what is his song? What song Baba sings and what song Baba hears from the children. So I was really feeling that if our heart sings this song, truly, Baba, you are our everything, you are my everything, then I think it is very, very easy and natural to sustain remembrance, right? Because remembrance is, of course, of the intellect, but remembrance is a lot to do with our feelings also, how we feel or what we feel for Baba, or how we are feeling even about ourselves at any given time. And remembrance actually is something that is built on feelings as much as we say our thoughts are important. Our feelings are also very important in remembrance. And when you talk about feelings, what comes to mind is someone you are very close to, someone that you are connected to in a natural way, or someone that you are related to, relationship, right? So this is why Baba, you are our everything, actually says it all. Because everything means all relationships and everything also, physically also, material thing also. So sometimes Baba takes on the form of a relationship of our relative, but also he can take the form of something physical also, that we are very familiar with, that we are very close to it, that we are very dependent on. So you are everything, everyone and everything. So I was thinking that you've had a very beautiful season here in Madhuban with many, many wonderful things that you have been hearing. And anything that you have taken to heart, that you have captured, and anything that you want to continue to either remember or practice when you go back, that is going to help you in remembrance of Baba also. So we are coming close to that time when, a lot has been received, and now it is up to us how much we are going to use what we have received to continue our journey of remembrance. Not only to continue, but to really enhance it, to multiply it also. And what that means, enhancing journey of remembrance, is that it becomes easier and easier, more and more natural, and you're able to receive more and more benefit from it. Even within short time, you're able to experience. This is what happens in Brahmin life, I think you must have noticed. Whereas in the beginning that, it would take us a few minutes to settle down into soul consciousness and then remembrance of Baba, to connect, to go to the soul world. All of that took some time, right? But then little by little, as we are developing and enhancing our journey of remembrance, our subject of remembrance, it doesn't take that long. you will find that immediately, yes, you don't have to repeat or listen to so many words in the commentary. Automatically your mind is already tuned in, and it is already soul conscious. You are already soul conscious, and you're already ready to connect with Baba. So it is how we develop ourselves, especially in this subject of remembrance. Because Baba makes reference to remembrance a lot, that it is the most important subject. Not that other subjects are not important, but this is one subject that can take you very far. And of course, it is also connected with all the other subjects. But this is one subject where sometimes we can fool ourselves and think that we are doing all right, but really not all right. It's a subtle subject. It's one of the more slippery subjects. We can easily come to understand Gyan and, become very clever in sharing Gyan and all of that. But for remembrance, it takes a lot of subtle effort, subtle attention. Yes, in the beginning, we know Baba, we remember Baba, we have all kinds of beautiful experiences, but now also to sustain those beautiful experiences, it takes a little bit more of internal effort, or what I call subtle effort. And what it needs is a very good intellect. Baba oftentimes says everything depends on the intellect. The intellect has to be refined, the intellect has to be subtle, the intellect has to be pure, has to be divine. Baba describes the intellect in many beautiful ways. But it's the intellect that is going to help us to sustain remembrance. And this subject of sustaining remembrance also connects with our sustenance itself. Sustenance of the self. It's such a common word we keep hearing again and again. We need sustenance. We need sustenance. What do we mean when we said we need sustenance? Sometimes it refers to, classes. Sometimes it refers to, just loveful relationships. Sometimes it refers to beautiful atmosphere. All these things are very sustaining. But when we say sustaining, what is it actually sustaining? It is actually sustaining our practice of remembrance. What we are saying is that when we get to hear good points of knowledge, it's helping us to feel Baba more. Not only sit and remember Baba by ourselves, but it actually helps us to remember Him more and to feel Him more. When we say that, we want good, nice, healthy relationship, loving relationships with the family, what is that doing to us? It is also helping us to get closer to Baba without any waste thoughts. Our dadis, our seniors, practically embody many of Baba's qualities. And so when we are in that kind of relationship with others that are embodying Baba's qualities, it becomes easy also for us to remember Baba. Right? The same thing with atmosphere also. When the atmosphere is clean, powerful, pure, peaceful, many other thoughts we can minus, and we can just stay with Baba's remembrance. So in this way that, whatever we refer to as sustenance in our Brahmin life, actually we're just referring to sustaining the quality of remembrance. Because none of them can actually sustain us forever. We may be getting all of those things. We may be getting good classes, we may be getting good family, good Brahma Bhojan, good environment, good atmosphere, center atmosphere, everything. But then at the end of the day, what I really have to do is check my own efforts. And am I using all of these things to actually create my own quality of remembrance and relationship with Baba? Why? Why is that important? Because a day may come when I don't get all of those things. Right? There is no guarantee still, even though they are very good spiritually, they are uplifting. But there may come a time when I don't get those kind of, consistent classes or that kind of company from the family or that kind of atmosphere of a center or whatever. But things change, no? Everybody knows that we are in a very, very fast changing world. So we have to think of sustaining ourselves. And sustaining ourselves basically boils down to this remembrance. If I am able to, in whatever condition, in whatever situation, if I am able to come back to that reference point, and what is that reference point in remembrance? Is my stage of soul consciousness, is my connection with Baba, presence of Baba, I am able to feel that. These are the two basic things I feel that I must be able to come back to. Am I really soul conscious? Am I really feeling Baba in some way, whether through his qualities, whether subtly through vibrations, whether through something that he has said, whether through something that he is guiding us in? I should be able to feel Baba's presence. So the sign that we are able to sustain ourselves or have received good sustenance is how we are able to sustain our own selves. Many of you, I think, will have that experience, perhaps of not living with Brahmin family, perhaps of working in their very difficult situations or environment or not so good atmosphere. Many of you will have that. These days, of course, we have classes all over the internet, so that may not be a big problem. But even after all of that, how much am I able to actually take from all of that and really create this very beautiful, constant and consistent feeling of soul consciousness and remembrance of Baba? That is our ultimate test of sustaining. So this is why sustaining remembrance, no matter what, that should be one of our main goals in Brahmin life. And it's going to become more and more important for us to do that. Last year, when I was leaving Madhuban, or somewhere, in the middle of Madhuban season, I remember meeting with Dadi Gulzar just for a few minutes in her company. And I remember this so strongly. I'm not remembering what exactly she said in terms of the words, but the feeling that I left with, and she was, and she was sharing, is that Shiv Baba's remembrance is the only thing that will help anyone, any soul, towards the time of the end or difficulty or test or whatever. And of course she said it in such a way that it really stayed with me. She may have said it for someone else, but I felt that it is also for us. That at any given time, no matter what we are going through or have to go through, can we really bring Shiv Baba's remembrance so alive at that moment that is really helpful and useful and beneficial, that we are able to get strength from that, we are able to get our direction from that, we are able to feel Baba's company from that, we are able to feel some kind of guidance, power, or simply just Baba's love. So this is why I was feeling that, if we can't do anything else for anyone else, then let us be in such remembrance that they can get the vibration of that. Many times, of course, we cannot share through words, but remembrance is such a thing that somehow or the other they will be pulled and they will also feel that help. So the subject of remembrance continues to be the most important thing in our Brahmin life. And what are some of the sustaining qualities? Baba has talked very much about Trimurti, sustenance is one of the three acts of Baba. Creation, sustenance, and destruction. So for remembrance also, all of these elements are important. So at any given time, to create that thought of remembrance is important. And for that, Baba has given us Baba's own introduction, the knowledge, and so many other things about our own introduction, our own part in the cycle, our connection, and how Baba guides us in our part. So many, many things that we can create thoughts about. But as I was saying, for sustaining that remembrance, we really need deeper feelings of love and deep faith. So there are many, many beautiful sustaining qualities that the soul has to integrate with remembrance. Not just treat remembrance as remembrance, but it has to be integrated with a lot of feelings of love, closeness, commitment, sacrifice, All of these are very, very sustaining qualities. And the soul has to integrate these qualities within remembrance. And one of the things that I'm picking up very much these days from Baba and Baba's Murli, especially when he came, yes, of course, Baba was very, very loveful. But what was the other quality that you saw in Avyak Bap Dada when he came on the 3rd? Did you feel any particular quality? Of course, yes, love. But also along with love, anything else that came across very strong for you? Which other quality? Imagine Avyak Bap Dada's meeting happening in front of your screen again. Play it back. Because this is one of the things that we have to do to sustain our remembrances, that we have to bring back the scenes of our times with Baba. Right? So what I was feeling is that Baba really, no matter what, Baba wants us to be happy. Right? He is really instilling not just this, understanding that we need to be happy, but he is actually demonstrating and really putting all his energy into transmitting that vibration of happiness to us. Right? And so I was just thinking that, we cannot hear. What happened? Can hear? It's okay? All right. So this quality of happiness is so important. Many times we hear this statement that in the path of bhakti, we only remember God at the time of sorrow. And we don't remember Him at the time of happiness. True? And what about now, when we have found our remover of sorrow and bestower of happiness? What is the reality of this time? Do we remember Him in sorrow or do we remember Him in happiness? Is it easier to remember him in sorrow or easier to remember him in happiness? What is your experience? You find it easier to remember him in happiness. Anybody else? Anybody else? Everybody finds it easy to remember Baba in happiness? Or when something goes wrong, or you're in trouble, or some little difficulty is there, then your thoughts go to him, right? Your thoughts go to him, but can you actually remember him the way he wants us to remember him at that time? Maybe, maybe not. It's true that your thoughts go to him, just like it was in the path of bhakti. Now also, when we are in trouble, we remember Baba. But the quality of that remembrance, the quality of that thought, is it really able to get us there? Yes, with practice we can do that. But usually you will say, Baba, fix this. Usually when you're remembering him in trouble, you're remembering the trouble more than you're remembering Baba. Yes? We don't remember Baba as Baba and say, with that complete trust. So this is one thing that I'm thinking, that at the confluence stage, what is really happening is that this habit that we have created of going to Baba only for difficulty or for some kind of need, some kind of desire, some kind of whatever, that still continues to. And now, by giving us knowledge, by offering himself in all the relationships, what Baba is doing is he is reversing that. First experience me in all the relationships. All the attainments from me in all the relationships. And when you do that, then you want to go to Baba, not because there is situation or there is difficulty or you want something, but you want to go to him again and again, right? And I find that, you may find that, you go to Baba more when you have trouble, but actually you can't really remember him. It's easier to enjoy remembrance when you're happy. When your state of mind is already good and you are starting with that happiness, then it is much easier to feel Baba and Baba's qualities and Baba's, what Baba is doing for me, all of the fortune that we have all received from Baba and during this confluence stage, it becomes very live. So this is why I feel that, especially before we sit to remember Baba, we should just kind of get a thermometer for ourselves, How am I feeling? How I am feeling in general. Not after I remember or not after even I'm soul conscious or whatever, but even before I think of remembering him. What are my feelings like? And it is so important now to transform our feelings somehow or the other, using some method or the other, to keep that feeling very positive and full of happiness. And this is why sometimes, Baba says, to remember your fortune is just as important as remembering God. Bhagya and Bhagya, Bhagavan. There are two words. Bhagya is fortune, and Bhagavan is the one who makes your fortune. So you have to remember both. In order to feel your own fortune, you have to remember both. Not only remember God as the one who bestows fortune, but my own fortune of having met with him, having found him, having belonged to him. Constantly, I have to feel that. And this is one of the things that I have found in the Dadis especially, that they never ever seem to ever, lower that temperature of happiness, ever. And the happiness is usually coming from this appreciation and awareness of the fortune. How fortunate we are, how fortunate we are, how fortunate we are. Almost every class, they will remind us, Dadi will remind us, look at our fortune, how fortunate we are. Whose fortune is greater, your fortune, my fortune? So like that, I think this quality of happiness, generating that energy of happiness is very important clue. And why I'm saying is that there will be times as we go back and as we get busy with our day-to-day life and activities and service, you should go back with some basic principles at least, some 2 or 3 things that you have taken very strongly from Madhuban, that I'm going to now, consistently do this. So one of the things I find that will be very helpful, because Baba wants us to be like that. So it is 2 things. One is of course our own happiness, but the other is also it is what Baba wants from me. Right? So somehow or the other to always check that I am happy, not only just before I'm sitting for remembrance, but all the time, to keep some kind of a check on my happiness level and to create some kind of thoughts, from somewhere or the other. It may be even a mundane thought. It may be even something very ordinary in terms of, a lot of people find, for example, oh, I found a parking spot, for example, they said, okay, still, to appreciate that and to uplift, your basic level of happiness. I think, this is more like a habit, rather than getting into the habit or staying with the old habit of looking at what is wrong or feeling the burden or, heaviness. Yesterday, we were talking to Dadi and Dadi Janki, and she was saying that I think it was in the hospital, right? She was mentioning that there is this sickness that is more prevalent these days, and the sickness is the sickness of feeling heavy about something. So feeling heaviness about something. And that heaviness doesn't allow you to go further on the journey of remembrance. So when I say happiness, it's not that extrovert happiness, but the lightness inside, where we are able to always be in an appreciative mode. Always in an appreciative mode. It's almost like a mode button. When you're in appreciative mode, everything that's happening is good. Even somebody is saying something terrible or something mistake also, that also is good. And you don't do it for the sake of saying that it is good, but you actually are in appreciation mode. So I think first is, how we can, constantly be in that appreciative mode so that, anything that happens, not only we are not bothered, but we are actually saying that is good, it is beneficial, it's positive. So when we start like that, then it is easy to connect with Baba. Because why? Baba is constantly positive. When Baba came, when these days especially, the only thing that he is, displaying or transmitting is so much of love and so much of happiness. And still, if we are not prepared for it, if our own stage is not the same, we're not able to appreciate, we're not able to take from Baba in that way. And we're still thinking that, why is Baba not saying anything more? Isn't there anything more that he can say? Or he didn't really give any point of knowledge. So we're still thinking about, how Baba should be, rather than how Baba is, and taking from what he is, how he is. So the point being that we have to also now create our stage like Baba, so that we can take from him, so that we feel that we are receiving from him and we are becoming like him. So happiness is a very, very important subject for remembrance. One is, of course, you feel a lot of happiness that, through remembrance, but even before remembrance, for remembrance also, it's a very sustaining quality, I find. So that is more like an internal effort and checking. And the other thing, of course, is, and Baba has given us this beautiful life where so many people say this, that, you all have a very, very disciplined life. You all have a very, very, a lifestyle that really promotes your spiritual progress. A lot of people say that. And sometimes we don't give enough importance to that. So one of the qualities I was saying that is very sustaining is if we learn to be accurate in the way that Baba wants us to live our life or to spend our day from morning to night. The many, many directions that Baba has given, not only as Srimad, as in a big way, but even in the small things, in terms of our daily routine, our daily timetable, our daily chart. The more we are accurate in all of those things, it will be easy to sustain remembrance. Just imagine, for example, there are so many spiritual gatherings, so many spiritual groups, and they all have their own little routine, but nobody has this kind of morning routine for everyone. People will usually do once a week, once a month, something like that. But for us, every day, for example, today also in Baba, Murali Baba said, celebrate every day as Diwali through remembrance, right? So it's because we are able to give consistently that time and quality to ourselves in that remembrance. That's why we are able to actually reap the benefit of remembrance. Because if we just did it sporadically, once in a while, sometimes yes, sometimes okay, so then it doesn't build. So in order for us to build, and to receive so much benefit, so I think that accuracy in whatever we do, in our give and take, in our talking, in our conversation, not to become loose, because this one is doing like this, or this one also talks like this. So we start to copy each other rather than to copy exactly what Baba is telling us. So I think one thing that will be, and I'm sure this will happen naturally, because now you have different kind of energy that has been almost like instilled in the soul in Madhuban, right? All of you must have found it so natural coming here in Madhuban to follow the daily routine and the timetable and still not feeling tired. Yes? Do you feel that? So the same thing will continue, but then it will need a little bit more attention as we go back, to be more accurate. So again, Baba has given us a very nice, formula for that. And what he has said is, follow the Father. Follow the Father. Right? Which means that Shiv Baba is there, he is giving us knowledge and he is giving us directions, and you follow him, but then you have Brahma Baba, who you have example of, who you have demonstration of. And so it is very important to also keep that it's not difficult as difficult. We don't have to invent new methods, for example, how we have to do this. But the direction is already clear, and the method is already clear, and the example in front of us is already clear. So hopefully, I think coming to Madhuban, so many people said that Baba is not just a concept anymore, but he is just so real. And I can feel him. So why we can feel him is because he came, he demonstrated, he has set in motion, this routine for us, this lifestyle for us. And so many of us are doing it together. And so there has been a lot of power in the gathering and following together. So when we go back, it's not just us, alone by ourselves following, but we know that we are all of us together in this. And there's a lot of power in that, following one Father, one Baba. And the other sustaining quality, I feel, that is very important. Many, of course, are important, but I feel lately that when we go back, a lot of things that we had not experienced while we are in Madhuban, they are going to be very much waiting for us there, right? Drama, life, relationships, work, job, everything. So somehow we have to develop an internal awareness and attitude towards everything. And what I what I feel very important, when we have to face drama, different situations, we have to do different things. Sometimes it's easy to say that, let me try and change this. Sometimes it's not easy to change something. Sometimes we just have to accept it. Sometimes we have to be very strong to face something. Sometimes we have to really go beyond everything. But important thing is, how do we deal with drama? Drama is a very, very important force in our life. But always to look at drama as our friend. Whatever is happening in the drama, whether it is playing out through someone, individual, or it is playing out through a situation, or it is playing out through even my own body, whatever it is, what is my attitude towards drama? Because based on that, I will be able to go to Baba quickly, right? And this is why Baba has given us the 3 dots, 3 dots of the soul consciousness, Baba the dot, and of course drama the dot. So I have found that sometimes we just in our life of ignorance, where we didn't have all of this knowledge and all of these virtues and Baba's reassurance why everything is happening the way it is happening. Now we have all of that understanding. But it shouldn't just be on the intellectual level. We have to now bring it down to the level of heart. And one quality I have found very, important in my growth is this feeling of trust. Deep trust. And trust in everything. Trust in so many things. Baba uses the word faith, of course, and faith we always have. But when it comes to day-to-day dealings, I find that trust is very, very important. I remember even in the beginning to trust. Yes, I'm remembering Baba, but is Baba getting, is he receiving my remembrance? This was a big question, right, for many of us. And then little by little, we learned, yes, of course, Baba got my remembrance. Baba listened to me, and Baba has actually answered me in some way or the other. So many of us have grown with that quality of trust in our own remembrance. So we have to also see that, am I remembering Baba just for the sake of remembering, or am I really remembering him with a lot of trust deep inside? Because what will happen is, if I have that trust, then I will be able to remember him from the heart. It won't be superficial remembrance. Say, for example, you are in the middle of a difficult situation, right? And it is an immediate situation. Something that you feel is very important, that you have to, invest your thoughts, you have to think about it, you have to deal with it immediately. And say, for example, at that time, you have traffic control, okay, comes on. What happens at that time? Is it easy to say, okay, I'll think about it later, and now it is time to remember Baba? How often we are able to completely trust that within this half a minute or 1 minute that I'm going to be with Baba, that I am going to be actually be empowered to think or resolve that situation. How many of us feel like that? Usually that situation pulls us, that difficulty or that person or whatever I'm involved in. It may be nothing negative, it may be even something positive. Maybe I'm planning for a program and I'm so caught up in it, that at that time I'm not able to let go of it. So the quality of trust is what allows us to really let go and to go really deep, way beyond where we can feel Baba's presence and Baba's help. So trust in the big things, but really trust in these little moments, how we translate that faith in Baba in these small moments where we are going through situations or whatever, but really, almost like ordering ourselves, because what is traffic control, for example? It's really helping us to discipline our mind, right? That at that moment you let go of everything and you just be, in this pure awareness of something beautiful that Baba has told you this morning, or some beautiful experience that you have had with him, just recreating that, re-emerging that, or something that you're working on, some particular quality that you're working on, and now you're reminding yourself, wait a minute, let me go back to that exercise or that practice. So somewhere Baba is disciplining us in an automatic way. So what I'm saying is that that trust, if it's not there at that moment, some little thing keeps pulling us back and you're not able to experience the full benefit of that moment or that few moments of Baba's remembrance. But if I were to have that trusting relationship with Baba, trusting relationship with Brahma, and trusting relationship also with my own self, I would be able to let go, and I will be able to connect at that moment with him. See, the sustenance quality is more about the quality of remembrance. It's not how long I'm going to remember him or how many hours of bhakti I was in or whatever, but the quality within that remembrance is what is going to pull you back to Baba's remembrance again and again and again, right? And that quality of, as I said, this particular quality of trust is actually something that pulls us back to him. Many things that you will notice that are not working properly or that should be better, or you have certain idea about it, but there is a way to do it, right? Thinking about it over and over again is not going to fix it. Or worrying about it is not going to fix it. Or being heavy about it is not going to fix it. And so this is why some of these qualities we have to really take up as important building blocks to quality remembrance, to really remembering Baba not only from the heart but also remembering him the way he wants us to remember him. So this is the one question I always ask myself: am I remembering Baba the way he wants me to remember him? Which is very different sometimes from the way that we are used to remembering him. Remembering him along with so many other things that are happening in the mind. So that way, the quality of trust, deeply knowing that there is a time that things will be all right. Trust doesn't mean that I have to let go of my aim or my vision or my whatever. But I keep that vision and I still continue with patience. Another quality that works very closely with trust is patience. Patient quality. And a lot of times our impatience is what breaks our link with Baba. I want something, but I want something so bad, so immediately, that I can't have that, that beautiful link with him and take it as it comes. So patience and trust, both of them are very, very important qualities to improve our remembrance, the way that Baba wants us to remember him, because he has given us so much knowledge, So all that knowledge has to be translated now into the qualities. Yes, we sometimes pay a lot of attention to the qualities in our relationship with each other. But what about in our relationship with Baba? Do we use all those qualities? The 36 or the 54 or whatever else qualities we have. So this is one way that we integrate these qualities in our remembrance of Baba. So for me, two of the most important things were, as I said, and to know that even if you are going through any kind of test, and remember, I always feel that sometimes you feel that you are very good at some things, but whatever you are good in is also what you are going to be tested on. It's almost like a given. Any subject that you are good in, definitely you will have to go through some kind of test. Some kind of and test is not somebody trying to test you to fail you, but the test is really to pass you. The test is really so even you yourself get to know yourself, that you are strong in this and you can use that quality, and you can pass with honors based on that quality. So any quality that you are good in, but especially to use it in Baba's remembrance and in coming back to that reference, as I said, of soul consciousness. So, in a way, I feel that, of course, Baba has already said that this is like a battlefield, you're on a battlefield. But rather than a battlefield, you're also on an examination room. To always think that in that examination room, whatever test, whatever question is in front of me, it's only so that I can pass. And Baba has taught me everything, and Baba has given me everything. So in that way, I feel that these qualities are important. And one last thing, just coming back to our relationship with Baba. We know that He's everything. But still, there are certain times that we feel Baba in a strong way, in a particular relationship, or because of a particular way in which Baba is helping us. Sometimes, you really, really need Baba's guidance in something. Or sometimes you just want him to be a friend, not anything else. Sometimes he has to be your Dharamraj, your supreme judge too. So, Baba always says that if you haven't experienced all relationships with him, by the end or through confluence age, some relationship or something will pull you back. So it is important for us for Baba to take on all the forms in our Brahmin life. All the forms meaning not only the traditional forms, like he's the father, he's the teacher, he's the Satguru, all of that. But even some of the not so well-known relationships, right? Sometimes he says he's your boatman, he's your laundryman, he's your boss also. So whatever, but he is our purifier. The purifier is the one that I can always go to with any kind of impurities, any kind of mistakes, anything that I'm finding defect in myself. I don't have to feel burdened by it, but I immediately go to the purifier, and through the remembrance of the purifier, it's almost like throwing it into the fire of remembrance. So we have to use remembrance in many, many forms. Sometimes it is light, sometimes it has to be intense. Baba also, sometimes he's in a light mood, sometimes he's in a more serious mood. So we have to also know the time, whatever time in the drama I'm going through, or situation in the drama that I'm going through. What is that time telling me, in terms of how I should remember Baba? Sometimes it's not clear right away, so you try a few things. Sometimes you try him as a friend, as a companion, but something or the other will definitely click. So never to say that, oh, it doesn't work. But somehow there are many, not only methods, but many relationships, many forms, many ways that Baba has told us to make our life very, not only interesting, but also, very relevant. Baba's remembrance has to be very relevant for us in whatever we are going through in our life. It is not out of context, in other words. So at any given time, I have to see where I am, what my feelings are, what particular situation I'm going through, what I'm in need of, just to be aware. Not that you're going to go to Baba and say, oh, I need this, but just that awareness is important in terms of where I am, what my feelings are like, how close I am, how far I am. If I've gone far away, I equally need to understand, why did I go far away? Did I do something against, what Baba is telling me that I went far away? Then maybe I need to acknowledge that. I need to come back to him. And I need to say, Baba, I did this, I'm sorry. So there are many ways to come back to that reference point of soul consciousness and closeness to Baba. And so we just have to be very dynamic, as I think. Raj Yoga is a very dynamic meditation. It's not like you have a mantra and you're repeating that mantra to yourself. Although Baba says Man Mana Bhav is the one mantra, but within that Man Mana Bhav, within that soul consciousness, there is so much included in it, so much variety in that Man Mana Bhav. So we have to make it interesting, we have to make it relevant, we have to make it easy, and we have to make it practical also. But one thing I find more now is, it's not that we are going to get long hours to sit in meditation, but within short time, how powerful we can make it and how qualitative we can make it. Baba's remembrance, that's what it's all boiled down to, right? So Baba's remembrance should be running in our veins, running in our nerves, running in every part of our body. But of course, it's still a process. In the confluence stage, there are many other things that are still occupying the mind and occupying our veins and occupying our heart. So day by day, as we refine our remembrance, we get to know ourselves better, and we get to also purify that remembrance more and more.